Hey there, Zane back again. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Madman with the Show. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and supporting, and sharing our programming. Well, let me tell you something. Let me start off. There's been so much we've been compressing in the last couple of weeks. Even though we've been in a pandemic, we've been locked down, and finally we're getting back out. I'm trying to catch up on so much. We're trying to expand to another day. Right now we got us focused on 2 days, which is like Wednesday, Friday. I may add another day, so be aware. Keep a lookout. Hit that notification bell. You'll know when we will be adding more episodes on there. So we may be shaping, depending on how our editing schedule is, there'll be more episodes coming. Right now we got a handful of them ready to go. And we got more, like this, when I'm recording this, we got another bunch more that are being recorded, and some of them already pre-recorded and ready to be edited and get there as soon as possible. We get them up very fast on there. But here's the big thing. Disney used to have a TV series many years ago, and this is pre-major internet. On there, we go back years on that. If you haven't seen it, it is a good series. Right now with the Disney Plus channel, you can catch, I believe all 3 seasons is in there. The series is called Gargoyles. And this was I love this series. It was very well done. You had Keith David, Marissa Sirtis. You also had Jonathan Frakes. A lot of great voices on there in this series. Basically, like I said, if you haven't seen this, it's a story about these gargoyles that are sitting on a Scottish castle that help at night. They come alive and defend the castle from Viking marauders and stuff like that. Something happens. They're cursed not to resurrect unless a particular incident happens where the castle rises above the clouds. Generations later, the castle has been bought and moved to New York City and put on top of a skyscraper. And basically, the gargoyles come back to life in a 20th century world. And basically, they have to try to live in this world, trying to help people defend them. It is a fantastic story. And you say to yourself, well, what? They're just doing it? No, there's a lot of story matter that this did. The person who created it was Greg Weisman, who's done a lot of stuff for comics, video games, TV series. He's done a lot on there. Basically, the series itself spanned many different storylines and stuff, many different characters. You had a character, Xanatos, played by Jonathan Frakes, which was the rich man who, the billionaire who bought the castle to bring it to his building, because he was sort of, how can I say it? He was a sort of bad guy in a way. As it got along, he kind of changed a bit. But you got to watch the series to understand why. Keith David played Goliath, who was the leader of the Gargoyles. Marissa Sirtis, who was also on Star Trek as well. She plays a character called Demona, who was Goliath's love interest, and she turned against him. She was a great villainess in this series on there. And there were many other villains stretching out throughout the 3-season run. And you had some great storylines. I think one of my favorite is the Avalon Storyline, where basically they were traveling on a boat to Avalon, and they had small stories in between. And then when they got to Avalon, there was a whole thing where they had to battle a wizard who basically was from their past, and they had to resurrect King Arthur. It's a whole situation where King Arthur comes back. King Arthur is resurrected, and there's more of a storyline for him. You have other characters like Macbeth and many others. There were other gargoyles. The stories are long. They're fantastic. They're very well done, except the 3rd season. And when they got into the 3rd season, they were doing like the Goliath Chronicles. It wasn't that great. This is where it started to fall off. And with Disney changing a lot of the stuff, they took what happened was the Goliath Chronicle, the original channel it was on the Disney Channel, the first 2 seasons. Disney decided to take the show there and move it to ABC Saturday. Now, at that time period, Saturdays were beginning to change. Right now you don't see really cartoons on Saturdays. You got the little kids ones, like the baby cartoons on there, and mostly nature shows now on Saturday mornings now. It's not like it used to be. And this was at this point when it was moved there, it was the beginning of the end of the Saturday morning cartoon. And this series got pulled. It got pulled after a while and didn't go through it, and it wasn't that great. A couple of the reasons of the cancellations for this show, as I said, things changed on the Saturday morning cartoons. 2 other reasons was that during this time period, if you know your dates, well, it was the O.J. Simpson trial, and a lot of the Saturday morning cartoons got overridden with news breaks from the O.J. trial because everyone was glued to the set on these trials. So it kind of started to hurt the Gargoyles series because they started doing a bit of season 2 into 3 on ABC. So ABC kept preempting Gargoyles on there. Another channel had on the Power Rangers, which Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was just getting into getting some life. This was something pretty much still pretty new at the time period. And, it was becoming a big hit. So, you had all these things that flew in and that just basically just contributed to the end of Gargoyles on television on there, including that, season 3 was a bad season as well. Now, we're hearing stories, now with the Disney Plus channel and everything like that, you can watch Gargoyles, the first, second, and third season, and you can judge for yourself on the third season. Greg Weisman has come forward and says he wants to redo the season. He wants to create new episodes. He has tons of storyline. Some of it was done in comic book form for a while, and then with Marvel and with the Disney purchase and stuff like that, Marvel, they cut it for budgetary reasons. The series was cut. He's come forward and he says he wants to redo the season, not a reboot, but he wants to just literally erase season 3 and redo it the way he wanted to, because he dropped out after season 2 going into season 3. So you had other people doing the show. He created it, but he didn't finish the third season. He didn't do the third season because it was very disappointing, and you could tell how disappointing it was. So basically, you hear this that they wants to be done, and he's getting a lot of backup on it. Marissa, who played Demona on the series, she's also interested coming back to the series. She wants it coming back. And then, of course, we're also getting another writer who's just been tapped to work in Disney's Marvel's Moon Knight series that's coming to Disney Plus. He's worked on The Witcher and the originals. The writer Bo DeMayo, he's also gone on Twitter saying, that he'll probably get fired for this, but he said he would love to watch a new season of Gargoyles, whether it's a reboot, whether it's a rewrite, or whatever this is. I mean, if this is done, and if Greg is allowed to do this, Disney, you got to hear it right now. You'll get a lot of fans back. You'll get a lot of the original fans back. Like I said, this was a great series, a lot of great characters, a lot of great, the magic, the mysticism, everything was on there. I mean, you had different mythologies. You had the Norwegian mythology, the Greek mythology, you had Camelot, it was so many different mythologies woven into this series. I mean, you got to see so many different characters on there, and they fit well episode to episode. I mean, there were secondary characters on there like Detective Mazza, who had a love interest in Goliath, who was a New York City cop. You had Xanatos' assistant, who had and I'm not going to tell you what it is. No, I'm not going to. But he has big backstory to his life. It's just when you find out the backstory, you'll be amazed. You know how long has this backstory's been there, and Xanatos not realizing it. And of course, you have the current technology because you have villains that are using lasers. I mean, it's funny when you see Macbeth from the days of chivalry and stuff like that, and he's made it to the 20th century, and he's using laser weapons. And you ask yourself, wait a minute, how did he make it to the 20th century? You got to watch the show to see how he made it, because you had characters from back as far back during when the Gargoyles were in Scotland, and they made it to the future as well. So, comment below, tell me, do you think a Gargoyles renewed season 3 will work, or should it be rebooted, or not done at all? Comment below, keep the conversation going, because this is going to be big as it expands. If more people are going to, I know Jonathan Frakes right now, he's working with CBS with Star Trek, but it'll be interesting if they can get him back as Xanatos and the whole crew back in to do this series. So don't forget, hit that like, hit that subscribe, you know, share this video. Thank you for subscribing to us. We'll see you on the rebound. Hey, thanks for watching there. And once again, don't forget to hit that subscription, like. If you want to comment below, you can. Be sure to check us out on all of our other platforms on there, all listed down below. And we also have a merch store and a place where you can give us support to this channel.